Hello, I'm Dan Sire, and I welcome you to my new YouTube channel, Any Questions. What is Any Questions? Well, Any Questions is going to be, at least hopefully, that's my initial intention, hopefully be a place where we can explore new thinking about God from a Christian perspective. And right out the gate, I need to qualify that probably. Why a Christian perspective? Why not some other religious perspective? Well, the Christian perspective is one that I know and one that I'm interested in, not saying that other perspectives are not valid. Just saying Christianity is what I know, and I'm too old to try and begin something new from the beginning. So what's the purpose of this channel? Well, the purpose of this channel, kind of broadly defined, is to open our hearts and our minds to the possibilities in the world and in our lives. We're going to use this Christian perspective, this non-traditional new Christian perspective of God as a conduit for us to explore possibilities, as we all, I am sure, are growing weary of this trend toward polarized thinking, which constrains us in so many ways. So in response, I propose a quest for open-minded thinking through seeking to ask good questions. And how will we do this? Well, again, initially my intention is to begin with a weekly reading, discussion / sermon covering one or more of the Bible texts for that week according to the Revised Common Lectionary. I am convinced that the stories of the Bible still have much from which we can learn and benefit. But remember this, and this is important, that this discussion will take place under the umbrella of non-traditional theological thinking. The ancient concepts of a God and good up there and bad and a devil down there, and us hapless human beings banging around in between the two until we are eventually and eternally pulled one way or another, well, yeah, that's not going to be very useful for us. So we're going to look at this God-Jesus business in a new way. So you may wonder, how am I qualified to do this? Well, I'm probably not. But I do have an earnest conviction to explore possibilities. And I also do have some experience. I retired over a year ago from being an ELCA Lutheran pastor for 14 years. I'm not a great theologian. I'm not a scholar. I'm not an intellectual, but I do have some religious experience and background. And prior to that, I spent 4 years in seminary, which I began at the ripe old age of 51. And before that, I owned a burger joint in northwest Montana with a couple of friends for a couple of years. And before that, I worked for United Parcel Service for 23 years, living in 7 different cities in 5 different states. And before that, I had a rather eclectic, if not way too protracted, 4 college career that included 1 year at the United States Air Force Academy. And somewhere in the midst of all of that, I was married and divorced twice. Definitely not proud of it all, but I've seen a few things. And together with you, I want to see more as we, again, pursue possibilities through good questions. And seeking theological understanding through asking questions is not a new concept. As a matter of fact, as I understand it, it's the basis for Jewish rabbinical theological understanding, seeking questions as much, if not more, than answers. Reminds me of a story that I read just the other day about a rabbi. Now, when I was a kid growing up, same may be true for you, and I don't know if parents do this these days or not, but whenever I would come home from school in the late afternoon, my mother would always ask me, "So, what'd you learn in school today?" Well, in the story I recently read, the rabbi would come home from school every afternoon, and his mother would not ask him what he had learned that day, but rather his mother would ask him, "Did you ask a good question today?" So, This channel will be a place where we can explore new thinking about God from a Christian perspective. New thinking that will try to get us beyond this wearying trend toward polarized thinking and open ourselves, our hearts, and our minds and our souls to new possibilities in the world and in our lives. So, please, join me next week and we'll see where this journey takes us. Any questions?